Viewer discretion advised. This channel is all about commentary, reactions, recaps, and real talk. If you're here for full episodes or full performances, this ain't that. Due to copyright, we keep it short and to the point. And if you don't like a little extra talk or personality, this might not be the channel for you. But if you're here for laughs, conversation, and real commentary, welcome to the show.
Hello, my nostalgics, and welcome back to another episode of Back Then with Nay. Scratch that. Today is Throwback Thursday. You already know on Throwback Thursdays, we do recaps, we do performances, we do reaction, we do reviews, you name it, y'all. We have so much fun on Throwback Thursdays, and we take it way, way back then to the 50s, the 60s, and even the 70s. Today, we'll be talking about the creepiest episode in Black sitcom history, in my opinion. That time that Diff'rent strokes got downright dark. And I do mean dark. That time that Arnold and Kimberly were kidnapped by this creep. When I tell you I had chills, my hair was sticking up. It was so thrilling, y'all. You don't want to miss this. Get your popcorn, get your drink, get whatever you need, because we about to get into this video. So I already did a formal disclaimer before this video. But some people just don't listen, and some people just don't care, you know? And for the people who just don't listen and don't care and don't, you know what I'm saying, comprehend well, this is for you. So I need to look you in the eye when I say this, because this is serious. This channel is a commentary, reaction, review, and whatever I want it to be channel, right? So that means I'm going to be talking, okay? So saying that I talk too much on a commentary channel is diabolical. It makes no sense. It's crazy to say that when this channel is all about my commentary, my perspective, my point of view, and my reaction. That's why a lot of people are here, because they want to know how I'm reacting to certain things. And I love the people who love me. But this is no shade to nobody, but I do have to say this because I continuously keep seeing these comments. And some of them are getting pretty nasty and negative. And I try not to feed into those things, and I'm still not. But I do want to address it face to face, okay? Because I'm not the type that just gonna be typing, you know, I ain't no keyboard gangster like some of y'all, which is fine. If you know, I just try to keep everything positive, y'all. And I hate I even gotta address this in this video because it takes away from the fun of my videos. So I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be my last time. I hope it's my last time, okay? I hope it is. But however, I said all that to say, you will not be getting a full episode, okay, of anything on my channel due to copyright restrictions and copyright reasons. If you would like for me to tell you where you can go watch the full episodes or full videos, I will be glad to tell you, okay? You can head over to the channels and the actual people who have the copyright rights to a lot of these videos and episodes and performances or whatever we react to on this channel. That's totally fine with me. I don't mind giving it to you. That's totally fine with me. But don't get in my comments saying I talk too much when this is my commentary. This is what it's all about, okay? I want it to be fun. So please keep it positive in the comments. If you don't, okay? If you want to be negative, you want those people that you have to troll, totally fine. We'll just ignore you and act like you're not there, okay? We'll just act like you're invisible and you're coming to just sit there, okay? Anyway, guys, we're on the road to 3K. We're almost there. I can't believe you guys got me to 2K that quick. I love y'all so much. Like I said, I love the people who love me, baby, and it ain't nothing you can do about it, okay? Let's get into this episode recap. This episode does start off with everyone getting ready for Mr. Drummond's birthday, okay? We got Maggie, we got Pearl, we got Willis, Arnold, and Kimberly. They're all getting ready for his surprise birthday party. Mr. Drummond does unfortunately shows up ahead of time and almost ruins his birthday surprise. But Willis does eventually get him out of the house by telling him he needs a new wardrobe and he looks terrible. No, really, those were his exact words. Like, you look terrible, you need a new wardrobe.
She's right, you look terrible.
And he believed it. So Willis got him out the house, and then everybody else, you know, got together and started finishing up for the party. Kimberly then decides that she needs to get her dad, Mr. Drummond's, a birthday gift. So she does ask Arnold if he wants to go with her, and he does decline in the beginning, but then when she brings up pizza and that she's treating, man, that man was sold to the highest bidder. So they go out in the freezing cold. And when I tell you, my girl Kimberly looked good. She looked so good, y'all. She had on this red fur coat with these bad boots, y'all. And it panned over to her walking in the middle of the street, baby. She looked good, okay? They do their shopping. They're standing outside. Then Kimberly remembers that she done spent all her money and they don't have no money for no cash.
I'm all out of money!
And then Arnold's like, you stupid. Like, it was so sibling coded, y'all. Like, they were like going back and forth. She was like, well, do you have money? And he's like, no, I ain't got no money either. And she's like, well, you stupid too. Like, it was just so funny. Like, I just thought that was so funny because I have 4 brothers and I don't know, but let's move on. I like to ramble. Kimberly has the idea of maybe we could just go ahead and get the cab and we'll just pay the cab driver once we get home, right? Because we have money at home. Arnold's like, great idea. So let's do it. So she tries to get a cab. Nobody is like stopping for her. They're passing by her. It kind of reminds me of that time in The Wiz where Dorothy, aka Diana Ross, tries to get a cab and it keeps saying off duty. Okay, you don't remember that? Okay, let's just disregard that. But anyway, y'all, Arnold tells her the reason they're not stopping for you is because you look broke. You looking too broke. You looking too thirsty. But if we're being honest, Kimberly looked good. So I don't know what Arnold was talking about. He's just being a little brother, okay? So he tries to get the cab driver to stop and they don't stop for him either. And I thought that was just so funny. And so she's like, I don't know what we're going to do. How about we hitchhike? And Arnold was like, oh no, daddy said don't ever hitchhike. She's like, what we gonna do? It's freezing cold out here. And I get it, y'all. It was cold out there, but I don't know about hitchhiking. That wouldn't have been nothing I did. I would just walk home at this point. But anyway, they went against their better judgment and still hitchhike. So they put their little finger out. And I mean, like in no time, somebody stopped. It was this cream color. I believe it was a Chevy. I could be wrong, but it was like a box little Chevy. Stopped. Okay. Already a red flag. Now I do love box Chevys. I think they're really nice, but to me, that's like the perfect car for this man. Okay. Now the man that stops, his name is Bill. He looks like a really nice guy. He looked very like clean. He was put together. His car was really nice. And so they fell for it. And here come Arnold. He gets in quick. Baby, Arnold get in so quick, he go in head first. Bill hits it off with Arnold almost immediately. Bill starts talking about what he does for a living. He starts telling him how he paints and stuff. And y'all, he already has these paintings in the back. That's the first thing I did notice about him when he did pull up. He had these big art paintings in the back. So he starts talking about those things. He starts talking about how he works for the military and how he has things on tape at his home, right? That he can show Arnold.
I've got some tapes at home of outer space photography I'll bet you'd like to see.
Would I? Does Mr. T like gold chain?
Arnold's like, I need to see him now. And Kimberly's like, no, we need to go home. And Bill is also like, no, we can wait another time because, he gaslighting and stuff. He been all, you know how predators do, right? He was already trying to bait him in. And that was, he had Arnold. Arnold would just not let up. He kept saying, I want to go. I want to go. Finally, even though Kimberly was reluctant, she finally said yes, but she was still a bit like, I'm not sure, but okay, let's do it anyway. Cool. Again, going against her better judgment. All right, so they arrive at Bill's house. First thing they see is his nice painting and how nice his apartment is. Kimberly starts to admire how his paintings are nice in his apartment and his apartment. He then says, good job, Bill. Talking to himself. I already thought that was kind of strange anyway. Like, patting yourself on the back. I already knew that was weird. It was kind of like he was saying, good job. I got him. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I took it as. And Arnold, he just could not wait. He was like, I need to see these tapes right now. Because after all, I'm the reason why we're here. I'm here for a reason. Okay. I need to see these tapes like right now. And so Bill's like, okay, so this is already a red flag. He takes Arnold back to his bedroom. Now, as a sister, I probably would have been like, no, I need to go with him. Now, I will say that Arnold was about 14 at this time. I believe that's what I read. And Kimberly was about 18. Okay, so Arnold was, old enough to take care of himself. But at the same time, I still would have been weirded out. Like, this seems strange. He gets Arnold set up with the tapes. He also gives Arnold this hat. And Arnold's just so content, baby. He's in heaven at this point. And so then Bill leaves the room and he locks the door, y'all. He locks the door behind him. And he does it discreetly where Kimberly cannot see him. And Arnold obviously does not know he locked the door because Arnold's all into this movie and all into this show, whatever the man showed him, I guess, of his art. He's all up into this. So he don't even know what's going on the outside. So that leaves Bill and Kimberly in the living room together. So then Bill has this bright idea, as if it really was an idea that just came up in his mind. This was on this man's mind the whole time. Okay, when he first seen them, he already knew what he wanted to do. So he used, bait to bait in Arnold to get to Kimberly. Okay, so this is when we finally see that he wants Kimberly, right? So he tells her that he wants to draw her for her dad's birthday. She's again reluctant and nervous about it. She does say no at first, but then she finally agrees to it. Okay, again going against her better judgment, y'all. She then sits on the couch and he begins to draw her, and then he begins to get even more creepy. Okay, he starts to ask her if she has a boyfriend, as if a 40-plus-year-old man needs to know anything about an 18-year-old having a boyfriend. Like why does that matter to you, sir? And you're not her dad or her granddad or her uncle or whatever. Okay, so that was already strange. She said no, she's not dating anyone, and he's like, me either. And I'm like, sir, she didn't ask you that, but okay, go off then. Okay, anyway, he begins to get into trauma dumping. I'm guessing that's what they call it when you're talking about all kind of stuff and you just dumping it on people. He's like, people don't take the time to get to know me, and it just really upsets me when people reject me. It really upsets me. Now, at that moment, that's when Kimberly knew that she probably was possibly in danger. Okay,
Like someone and they reject you. That upsets me. That really upsets me.
I guess I wouldn't be too happy about that myself.
And the trouble is, people are always in a hurry. They don't have time to really get to know you, to find out what you're really like inside.
She was already super nervous, but this really made her even more nervous when he said that, because she said, you know what? We don't even have to do this. I would like to go home. My dad is probably home by now and we need to get going. He's like, no, I'm trying to do something nice for you. And, why won't you let me, basically? And she's like, no. So then she gets up and this man stands in front of her and he says, sit down. And I, at this moment, like she already knew she was in danger, but that's when she really knew she was in danger. So then she does sit down and she then tries to plead with him even more. And he's saying, no, I can't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not letting you go, basically. Like, you're here to stay at this point. And it pans back over to Mr. Drummond's house, where he then arrives with Willis for his party. Now, Maggie and Pearl really weren't too much concerned about Arnold and Kimberly, and I think that was because they knew that they were going out. They knew that they were probably going to go get some pizza, and probably thought they were goofing off since they're young and stuff. So they really weren't too concerned like I would have thought they should have been. But we're not blaming them, because I think they just didn't really think anything of it. But as soon as Mr. Drummond got in, they surprised him, and he noticed that his children weren't there. He was like, what's the rest of the game? Like a good father, he's already looking for his kids. They tell him, oh, she went out to get you a gift. Arnold went with her. So he's like, oh, okay, not a big deal, right? So then we get back over to Bill's apartment, okay? Kimberly is still trying to get away from this man. She's still trying to make excuses like, I gotta go. And he's still saying, you're really upsetting me. Don't make me do something that I'm going to regret, basically. So then Arnold's movie begins to finish up, and he's finally like, that was so good. Then he realizes that he's locked in. So then Arnold, Arnold, baby, he ain't gonna sit still. He begins to bang on and yell on the door. He's like, let me out of here. What are you doing to my sister? And he's like, I'm drawing a picture of your sister. Chill out. Like, just go watch another movie. Arnold, we're good out here. And he's not taking that. He's like, no, you got me locked in here. Something's not right. Kimberly, are you okay? Bill then grabs Kimberly and is like, tell him to be quiet. Like, he grabs her arm. And I do want to note that he does, he really abuses her in these two episodes, because it is a 2-part episode, and he abuses her like really bad. Like, he's like grabbing her, he's throwing her down and stuff this whole time. It was really hard for me to continue watching because he was just really abusive to my girl Kimberly, and I just could not stand it. But I'm watching this for you, okay? For the people who don't want to sit through a 2-part episode, I got you, okay? So then Bill finally gets aggravated with Arnold. He then throws Kimberly in the closet. Kimberly does try to escape. So that's when he's like, no, you finna really make me hurt you. So he's all grabbing her and got her leaned back and doing all kind of crazy stuff. Puts her in the closet. She's pleading, please don't hurt Arnold. Please don't hurt Arnold. And he's like, I'm not gonna hurt him as long as you don't do nothing crazy, okay? So he leaves her in that closet. He goes back to where Arnold is. Arnold then is trying to up the window, okay? He's trying to pull up the window. And then here comes creepy Bill saying, it's stuck. it doesn't open for me either. And that's when Arnold was like, oh, heck no, let me get out of here. So Arnold tries to take off running, and Bill catches him, and then he ties him up. He ties up his hands and his foot with duct tape. And then before he puts the duct tape on Arnold's mouth, Arnold's like, you are going to let me out of here, right? Because I'm calling the cops when I get out of here. And Bill looked like, not a chance, and he tapes up his mouth. Then we get back to the Drummond's apartment, and it's been a while, so Mr. Drummond is now, he's very, very worried, and Maggie and Pearl too, and Willis is the only one that's chill about it. He's like, Arnold, I already know Arnold, he can get lost in a telephone booth. Y'all already know they cool or whatever, just like a brother or sibling will be thinking, like, no, they'll be all right. And I think he was only doing that because he didn't want to think the worst, and everybody already was like tripping and scared. But anyway, Mr. Drummond still called, like a good father that he is. He called the police, but the police did absolutely nothing. They said, we don't have time to be chasing no kids, okay? No kids that, didn't make it home on time. We don't have time for that. So call back another time when they've been gone longer. So they did absolutely nothing at the moment. So anyway, so at that moment, they knew something is wrong. So then it goes back to Bill's apartment once again. This is where things take a even more like creepy turn, okay? He is in the living room with Kimberly, making her slow dance with him to this weird classical music, and she's hysterical. She's crying. He's holding her so tight that she cannot even breathe, and she's saying, I cannot breathe, like you're holding me too tight. And he's all singing to her in this very, very creepy voice. I can't do it like him, and I won't even attempt to do it like him, but you have to go watch the episode if you want to hear it. And it was just very strange. This is when I started really getting chills, because I was like, oh, this is crazy, okay? He really wants this girl. Like, start the trauma dump once again about things that's going on in his life and his job. Kimberly does what anybody would do in that kind of situation. She tries to nice talk him, okay? Make him feel better. But then he accuses her of being condescending, okay? Then he pushes her on the couch once again, and he start, saying, don't do me like that and this and that. And she's like, what do you want from me? He's like, I want your affection. Okay, I want your attention. He takes her to the window and shows her how he loves looking down at stuff and how he loves looking down at other people, which is so creepy because a predator would, right? He talks about how he loves being on the first floor because he can see people. And by that time, they hear Arnold break a window, y'all. So Arnold finally does break through the window. By the time they get in there, Arnold has already escaped. At this moment, I am screaming at the screen. I'm like, yes, Arnold, my boy done got away. I'm happy. I'm screaming at this point because I'm like, she's finally finna get help. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I don't know how they're gonna get out of this situation. Nobody knows where they are. Nobody knows they have even done this. Like, this is crazy. But my boy Arnold, he kept working, okay? He finally got free from the tape, and he is on the street, and there's no sign of him by the time Bill and Kimberly gets in the room. She's like, good, he got out. At that point, Bill is upset, y'all. He is so upset.
Well, I'm glad he did. Now they'll be coming after you.
Maybe. But it'll be too late.
So then it pans over to Arnold on the street trying to find help. He does try to get help from this one man, and this man does point him into the direction of the police officer. He does find a police officer, and at first the police officer did not believe anything he was saying, which that was crazy to me because why wouldn't you believe him, okay? But he finally does believe him. He's like, okay, well, take me to where your sister is. And Arnold had ran so far that he could not show him the direction of where Kimberly was. And I was just so sad for my boy Arnold because I was like, we were so close. And this episode just keeps going and going, y'all. This is why I say it keeps going, because it's like as soon as you think they out, they're not. Very much a thriller, y'all. Let's keep going. So then we get back over to the Drummond's house where a detective is with Arnold now, and they bust through the door and they let everybody know what's going on. And that's when everybody's just in a frenzy, and Mr. Drummond is very upset at this moment. Now the detective does offer something that I haven't heard of, y'all, as far as in detective work, but he offers to hypnotize Arnold for him to remember some of the things. He said that they normally hypnotize some of the victims and to get them to remember things that they could not remember. So then they agree to do that. So they hypnotize my boy Arnold, and Arnold begins to remember how cold it was outside, and he remembers Bill's license plate. Thank God. I'm like, yes, finally they finna get out of there. Kimberly's about to get out of there. Like, we finna go rescue my girl. All right. So then they run the license plate and they figure out what Bill's address is, and they go over there. When they finally get over to the apartment, y'all, they rush right in, and there's no sign of Bill and no sign of my girl, Kimberly. And that's when I was like, oh my God, y'all playing with me. I'm on the edge of my seat. Y'all playing with me. Is she gonna be rescued or not? What's happening?
No, God, please, no, 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 no.
Like at this point, like I'm on the edge, y'all. My hair is sticking up on my head. Y'all already seen me in the beginning of this video, okay? I'm on edge, okay? So then the landlord ladies, all she cares about is the window being broken. She's coming at that like twice, and everybody's like, who cares about a freaking window? Okay, this man has kidnapped this girl. Okay, so then she begins to talk about how Bill has taken some pictures and did photography for her and her grandkids, and they don't care about that. She's like, y'all want to see the pictures? They like, no, lady, we don't want to see no pictures of this predator, this crazy creep man. And that's when she starts to talk about the basement that she lets Bill use from time to time for his photography. And that's when they was like, basement? Can you take us there? And she's like, sure, I'll take you there. Then it pans over to the basement. The basement is completely red. I do believe that's because of his photography, and I think that's something that has to do with photography. If you're a photographer, let me know, like those rooms that are dark and they be doing stuff in there with the water. I'm not sure if that water or not. I'm not sure. But I think that's the kind of room that they were in. But Bill has Kimberly on a bed, and he's trying to take advantage of her, and she's trying to fight, y'all. My girl's trying to fight for her life, and then finally she finds some kind of liquid and she splashes Bill with it, and I was finally like, yes, girl, yes. The doorknob begins to move. She runs to the doorknob, and the police and her dad is standing there, and when I tell you, I was screaming for joy because I was like, this has went on too long. We finally got my girl. I was so excited, y'all. And that is how it ends. She does talk about going to the police station and having to identify him and press charges and all that good stuff. But yes, y'all, this episode had me so on edge that I had to watch it multiple times to make sure I get every detail to tell y'all. Okay, for the people who don't like to sit through episodes, I'm one of those people, but I'm doing it for y'all because I love y'all so much. I had to make sure I had most of the details right. Okay. I will say this, it is so important to educate your kids. It don't matter. I love the fact that they use Kimberly and Arnold at older ages. Okay, even at 14, baby, people are licking 14, 15, 16, 17. It really don't matter the age, because even at my big grown age, my mama always has told me don't talk to strangers, and to this day I don't fool with strangers. Now I do love y'all on this internet though. The ones that love me, I love y'all. Okay, so I'm not talking about y'all, but people just like random people in the store and just random weirdos. No, absolutely not. Okay, always be aware of your surroundings everywhere you go. It does not matter your age or your gender. Okay, it does not matter. Y'all have seen the news. Okay, y'all have seen documentaries. I don't have to tell y'all this, but I do want to make sure that y'all are educating. Educate your kids. Educate anybody that you know that you think that would need this information. But anyway, y'all, it was a really good episode. I'm so happy that they covered something like this. Y'all know I say this all the time because a lot of these old shows, you didn't think that they would cover certain things like this, but they did. And this was probably one of the most chilling, creepiest episodes in Black sitcom history. I know a lot of people wanted to argue with me. Well, not a lot of people. Somebody wanted to argue with me that Diff'rent Strokes really wasn't a Black sitcom, but it was, because it was centered and it was around two Black boys' life. Okay, it doesn't matter who's in it. It don't matter who's in it, but it was about their life, and it don't matter. Like, y'all, I don't discriminate when it comes down to sitcoms or anything like that, but my channel is dedicated to Black sitcoms, and that's not to say that other sitcoms aren't good, because my favorite sitcoms growing up was Three's Company. I Love Lucy, so don't get me wrong. Okay, so if you watching this and you think this is, all about just Black people, it is. However, it's paying homage to my people and not necessarily singing anything about the other ones, okay? I hope you guys have enjoyed this recap on Throwback Thursday. Please make sure you like, you comment, and subscribe. Hit that post notification bell so you'll be amongst the first to know whenever I post a video. I love y'all so much, and I'll see y'all next week on Throwback Thursday. Bye.